Hey everyone, welcome to the main event. It is Monday, September 25th. Hope you're doing well. See what's going on today. Oh, yeah, by the way, if you don't know who I am, what I'm doing here behind this microphone, my name is Joe Tillman, and I'm sometimes known as the original hair transplant mentor, which is an old nickname that was given to me back in the day. And this is the official YouTube channel for hairtransplantmentor.com, where you can find a list of doctors that have applied to be considered hair transplant mentor doctors and have passed my, I'd say, pretty rigorous examination and review process. And who am I to say that they're worth considering? Well, I'm someone that has been a repair patient since, I got my first two surgeries back in 1992, I think, or 93. I think it was 92. And that was hell. Very painful. It predated FUT. It was mini micrografting, which is still a strip, but it was a very barbaric strip twice. And I lived throughout my 20s looking like I had ant legs on growth hormone sticking out of my head, and nothing else really behind it. By the way, can you hear me in the chat room? Please, anyone in the chat room, please just confirm that the sound is coming through. It looks like it's coming through on my board. Got my first repair surgery in March. I think it was March 18th, 2002. And about a year after that, actually, officially, 20 years ago next month, I was working under the roof of a hair transplant clinic, or the hair transplant clinic that turned me around as far as my hair goes. And I went in with, I don't know, how do I describe it? I went into this, you could say bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, the old cliche, thinking I was going to really do some good. I was going to help change this industry. And for the next 11 years, I will say I helped to change the standards as far as how documentation is performed, video production. At Hassan Wong, when I was working there for 11 years, we did set the standard based on what I set up for how clinics present themselves with their photos and videos, the format, the way that patients are sitting and looking at the camera, the lack of flash photography, which is terrible, by the way, because when you're looking at a result, or when you're looking at a hair transplant, say on the street or face-to-face in a coffee shop or whatever, the person you're looking at doesn't have flash bulbs going off around them 24/7, and they're not frozen in time for that moment for you to see them. It's a very distorting to what you see in reality. I've revealed some tricks over the years that clinics will do that will misrepresent the result, make it look better than what it really is, and even to make it look worse. How many times have you seen, every clinic is guilty of this, how many times have you seen a before image where the hair looks like the patient just got out of a wind tunnel, and then their after result, it's perfectly coiffed, nicely combed, styled. That in and of itself you could actually have someone in one of those before images and they just comb their hair. It would look like they had an improvement. So I kind of busted that, revealed that, among other tricks. But I do what I do, and I maintained what I do throughout the years with the idea that I don't sell surgery. Now, when I was a consultant, I did sell surgery, but I didn't sell it as if I was trying to sell it. In other words, I wasn't pressuring people to have surgeries. I don't recall ever being in a situation where there was a sale based on a holiday or whatever, the idea was brought up, I shelved that most Ricky tick very quickly, shot that down, because I don't believe that surgery should be sold. I believe that surgery should be decided upon by patients after they've received a thorough and genuine education on facts and with proper presentation of consistency by whatever clinic they're considering. And so when I went independent, what was it, 8 years ago now? Yeah, 8 years ago. God, 8.5 years ago, where I was no longer working for one clinic. I've carried that forward, and I don't know how many times I've said this, I've written this, it's been repeated by others, that surgery is the last resort. I encourage people to not have surgery when they first start thinking about it. And there's a very specific reason for that. The reason for that is because, and it goes back to, actually, it's documented online with my very first hair transplant education series class, hair transplant class number 1, where I come out and say, do not have a hair transplant. And the whole point of that, it was kind of funny. I got a lot of hate for that one. But the whole point for that, if you watched it through to the end, you'd learn that my message was that you should not have a hair transplant until you've come to the conclusion that you've realized that it's not a guaranteed outcome, nor should it be. And if you come across a clinic that is giving you a guarantee of outcome, then you should walk away, because the only guarantee the clinic should be giving you is a guarantee of their best effort. And then you choose that clinic based on the consistency of results that have been put out over the years, so that you can feel comfortable knowing that the chance of a bad outcome due to anything on their part, like surgical, error or whatever, misjudgment by the doctor or the staff, whatever, is at a minimum. Because it's never eliminated. And if it's ever eliminated, they don't know it, because, you can't predict when everything's going to be done just right every single time for every single patient, every single day, every year, every week, whatever. It doesn't work like that. So that's a little bit about my background. And here we are today, where I've got, even though I removed a doctor last week, I still have, is it 17 doctors? I think I lost count, because I actually have accepted a new doctor that hasn't been announced yet, because I don't have all the final things I need for the video that I am working on already. And it's a small group. It's getting bigger, but it's not something that, like, I don't just gather information and then I say this because this is kind of funny. And then I don't present it to you and say, what do you guys think? Because that's not really fair to the clinic. And, it's interesting. And just to kind of sidetrack, and yeah, I'm rambling here right now, but I think it's interesting to allow laypersons, anonymous laypersons that may or may not know anything. They may know a lot. They may not know anything about hair transplant surgery. And the idea that based on anonymous person's input, a clinic would be accepted into my organization because anonymous people say that they should be. With the standards that are out today by the general public of what natural means, that is a bad idea. That is a very bad idea, more so now than ever. But that's just me. And I only say that just popped in my head because of something going on behind the scenes, which I think is sad and funny at the same time. But point being, I was explaining to those of you that may not know who I am, I'm picky, and I don't make it easy for people to, once they apply, to get through to the other side. And if I did make it easy, because I'm quote unquote greedy, as some people have said, my organization, I'd have more than 100 clinics. I'd have more than 100 clinics. I would have endorsement deals for every piece of snake oil that's out there. Maybe I should do that. I don't know. Like, I'm sitting here talking about that. It's like, maybe I'm kind of stupid. I should be doing this because I've had some good offers, you know? But anyway, so that's who I am, and that's what I'm doing here, and that's what I'm about. That's what I do. And when I do remove a doctor from my organization, it's for a damn good reason. And no, we're not talking about that today, or at least that's not what I'm, for those of you who've been paying attention, that's not what today's show is about. It's really about Ask Me Anything, because while I do have a lot of projects I'm working on that I am trying to crunch myself to get out, I decided I need to take a break from that, and I need to get back to you guys, try to do it more regular. I tried to do this before. It was really tough, simply because I got a lot of stuff I'm trying to get done, which, I mean, who doesn't, right? But maybe my time management skills aren't the best. But with that said, the phone line is open. It's toll-free North America. You can give me a call. Ask me anything you want. Let me throw the number up on the screen there. There we go. Right down here in the corner, it's 1-833-563-4247. Let's talk about hair transplant surgery. Wow, that's fast. We can talk about anything. Let's see what this caller wants. Hey, you're on the main event. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Adam. Or hey, Joe. It's Adam.
Well, hey, Joe. How you doing, buddy? Good to hear from you. What's going on, man?
I'm always nervous on radio.
No worries.
What it is.
No worries.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for you and Spencer for not being, like selling out and stuff, and really helping everybody, with resources that you offer for free too,
I forgot to mention I'm charging $14.95 per minute for every caller. So after this, you can send me your credit card information.
I will definitely do that. That's more than each graph.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I really do. And it's interesting. I've been accused by a doctor over the past week for that exact issue, being greedy. And obviously he's lashing out, and it is what it is. But it's what's funny to me is how anyone can actually say that if they know me, if they've been paying attention, because I've had look at me, like I'm sitting here, I do a live stream at least once a week, sometimes 3 or 4 days a week. I get approached. Like I will say, shoot, I forgot to bring the props in. I got a box in last week. I actually made a post on Instagram about it. I got a box from Korea. I'll go ahead and say that it was from Cosmo RNA. They sent me a supply of their product. And I was in talks with them to do something, but the woman I was dealing with, she actually messaged me over the weekend. God bless her heart. She had to quit because she hurt herself, her back, and she can't, there's no one to replace her right now. So she was kind of like the public relations person for the company, and we're talking about some things. But I got a couple of bottles of Cosmo RNA. I'll probably try. Maybe I'll try it. We'll see. But I was going to try it on camera, and or at least consider it. Like I'm always careful about that kind of stuff. But or maybe I'll give it away. I don't know. You know what? That's not a bad idea.
What is it, a shampoo?
No. Cosmo RNA is the latest hair loss treatment that's come out. It's made a lot of waves because it's not a DHT inhibitor. It actually, what's the word I'm looking for? It blocks the receptor on for DHT. Sorry, I'm getting calls coming in. It blocks the receptor for DHT, so that DHT doesn't affect the hair follicle, supposedly. And I'll be honest with you, I've not been paying a whole lot of attention to the outcomes on this because it's so early. It came out in April, so it's not been out very long. But it's from a company in Korea. They did a spin-off It's a large pharmaceutical company in Korea. They created a spin-off company for this product specifically. They didn't go through FDA trials or anything. They went through the cosmeceutical or nutraceutical, cosmeceutical route. Yeah. In Europe, where there are no stringent standards such as you have with pharmacology, with medication. So they were able to get through, and it's available. Like you can buy it on Amazon. You can go to their website, cosmorna.com, or I'm just guessing. I don't know if that's the website or not, but you can look it up online. You can find it everywhere. And there's a big, well, I don't want to say a big crowd, but there's a crowd of people on Reddit that have dedicated a thread to their usage, and there's all kinds of claims, and like I don't know what you can believe on that. So I've not been following it very much, but they reached out to me recently, and I was going to have her on. I was going to do an interview with her. We're trying to get the timing right because of the time difference. But yeah, I'm kind of bummed because she hurt her back, and I mean, it's like a slip disc type of thing. So I feel bad for her, but yeah, I was going to have like a big Cosmo RNA interview. Wouldn't that be fun?
It'd be something new, something interesting. I think, I don't know. I don't think I would try it until until it's really out there for a few years.
And that was my challenge. It's like, she asked me if she could send it to me. I was like, sure. Cause I thought at the very least I can talk about it. I can, it's nice to have it in front of me while I'm talking about it. And it's like, would I even try it? I don't know. It's like, I actually want to try it. But at the same time, because it's not been through all it's not been through all this testing that you would normally get with a medication. I don't know. The good thing is it's not an injectable. You're not ingesting it. You're not injecting it. So it's a topical. So I don't know. I'm still kind of iffy about it. We'll see. Or I might just give it away. But if I give it away and someone doesn't like it or they have a side effect, then I'm the one to blame. So maybe it goes in the trash. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Definitely, it could probably burn you, essentially.
Maybe.
Something goes wrong.
You never know in this world, man. I tell you. So.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know. That seems like something people who get side effects from medication would take. And, I'm doing fine right now, knock on wood. But
yeah,
I've been using dutasteride for a few years now.
Okay. Quick question. Have you noticed the price going through the roof, or is it roughly the same?
No, I remember. Well, we were talking about this. I called on the.
Oh, that was you. Yeah.
Truth.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. I still get mine for $100 for 90 days.
Okay. Right on.
Yeah. So I'm doing good. So it's $400 a year. That's not bad at all for dutasteride.
Yeah.
Really good.
Right on.
Okay. But I told you in that call I was going to keep bothering you guys just because, doing my research with doing surgery, because I've been thinking about it for many years now.
Remind me, how old are you?
Almost 25.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. That's exactly what Dr. Panine said. He was like, oh, still a little young.
Who said that?
Dr. Panine.
Oh, Panine. Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Okay, I remember. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. He was skeptical. I remember I visited him in early 2020. This is when I was like just at the very start of my journey, if you would call it.
Yep.
And he was like, "Yeah, man, like you got some thinning, but I can't do anything to you. Like you're too young." And I was really pissed off at the time, but
yeah,
learned that it was definitely for the better because it was just right. It was just the right thing to do. It was 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, but we needed more time to see what medication does. Is also what he said.
Yeah, of course. That's a smart way to take it, and more importantly, the responsible way to take it. So good on him, and good on you for realizing that he had your best interest at heart. So that's good. That's good.
Yeah, and ever since then, I've still been just doing, more and more research. and that's why lately I've just been calling you guys more and more and just bothering you guys with so many questions because I have to.
Well, it is a bother, I tell you, man, because I'm just teasing. So what's your question? What's going on? What's the latest?
Right now it's, so I spoke to Azmed in Turkey, Koray Erdogan, and we were discussing, how many. It was just through WhatsApp. How many?
Were you speaking with Suzanne?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, she's very helpful.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So I was really interested in the clinic, and I guess what they offered to do for me wasn't in my interest. I wasn't really interested in lowering the hairline and anything. And I made that point to them, and they said, well, you could definitely discuss that with, Dr. Koray, when you reach Turkey, if that ever happens. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's awesome.
Right.
Then I started doing more research, and I came across Reddit, and people were bashing on him for being a hair mill. And this is something I've recently heard about.
Yeah.
Where it's frowned upon to be doing multiple surgeries in one day, but I don't get it because I was going to pay the extra just for him to do it for me.
Yeah. Well, then what's the problem? Yeah. It's like,
yeah.
Look, I've never talked about this because it's been kind of on the fringe of what I do. In other words, it hasn't really. Well, I'll say this. Was it 5 years ago? I think he started getting some flack for some changes that he made, and I was paying attention. But what I noticed, and this is going to piss some people off, and I don't really care. But what I noticed is there were more people complaining about what was going on than actual patients coming out and complaining about what was going on, and not all, but some of the people that claimed to be patients, they weren't really sharing their situation. Specifically, there's one that I won't forget. He was complaining about his donor area being over-harvested, I think in one area. What I don't recall him sharing at the time was that he had prior surgeries, which doesn't, to be fair, doesn't really matter because if there's a prior surgery, if it's not over-harvested, then it's up to the new clinic to work around that to make sure it still doesn't look over-harvested. But I don't know what it looked like before. Like, was it over-harvested kind of before? Was there any discussion of this? Like, all this is left out. But as far as the result goes, he never shared it. All he did, this is the most vocal person that I'd seen. There's some others, but this is the most vocal person, and he was saying, or what he wasn't saying was how the result turned out, or at least he wasn't showing it as far as the growth and the naturalness. Now, full disclosure, I do know of someone. This is before I started working with Dr. Koray. I do know of someone personally that went to the clinic, and they did not have a good outcome. This is before I started working with them, so I don't know the absolute details of it. But the worst situation, or the worst part of this situation was it didn't grow the way that everyone wanted it to, but he didn't walk away looking disfigured and like he'd actually had surgery. It was a wash, basically. Now, I don't know all the details. I think I know the medication use, but I don't know all the details of the case. But that's the risk you take with anyone. There's a doctor that, I need to be careful how I say this. I need to be fair how I say this, but there's a doctor that I know quite well. I do not work with him today. He's very vocal about clinics over-harvesting, about clinics with, or doctors over-harvesting, doctors with patients that have bad growth. When I just got a report from another doctor that I know talking about something completely different, and then the subject of this doctor came up, and he goes, that's odd. I was like, why? He goes, I've got one of his patients in my clinic today. Like, okay, whatever. And he said, it's terrible. I'm like, what do you mean? Over-harvested and poor growth, all in the same patient, from this very same doctor that's complaining very vocally lately about his colleagues over-harvesting and bad growth. It happens to everyone. As far as it happens to every clinic. And that's why I talk about don't have a hair transplant unless you're ready to have this be a possible outcome. Like it shouldn't happen, make no mistake, but it does. For whatever reason, some clinics call it the X factor. But what do you do? Right? So in my experience with this particular clinic, I do look at complaints that have come to me. I do reference, I do speak with the American Hair Loss Association behind the scenes and find out what they know, because they have a huge database of complaints from doctors all over the world. It was very low. I look at each individual case that I have access to. I weigh the good. I look at things logically. I try to look at things through an unbiased lens. And if it makes sense, it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. And I factor, this is part of my process actually when I'm evaluating a clinic. And I look at the facts and I draw upon my own experience in this regard, and I make a decision. And when it comes to ASMED, most people that are talking about this, they're repeating sound bites or hearsay from other people that are doing this, 19 times removed, until you get down to a patient that might be unhappy, and the story isn't quite the same as what it's been shared as, through 35 different people. So I've been to the clinic twice. I've been to their old clinic and then the new clinic. So I've been to ASMED twice, but 2 different locations.
Sorry.
That's okay. I spent a lot of time there, and I've seen how they do things. And I'm going to be perfectly frank about this. If a clinic has some sort of issue because they've made changes, whatever those changes may be, it doesn't mean that they need to be damned forever because of it. And a perfect example that I will reference is a clinic in Turkey that I actually, it's probably not the best example, but it's a clinic that I visited undercover about 8 years ago. I
think I saw this video.
Yeah. That clinic, the work they were churning out at the time with, 30, 40 patients a day was terrible across the board. Like there's just no two ways about it. There was no single result I had seen doing my research after the fact, after I've been there, that looked even remotely acceptable. 8 years later, he's got a new facility. He's doing even more patients. But some of the results I'm seeing, I'm like, damn, they've improved. Okay. I can't say it's consistent because I do so many patients a day. So, I got some doctors in Turkey that I know quite well saying that they believe, based on what they know about him, he's doing over 100 patients a day. Obviously not him, but he's got the facilities set up to where there are over 100 patients a day being operated on by all these nameless technicians. So, then you look at ASMED, they might have 6 patients in there at the same time, but they're not 6 different patients every day, because most of their patients are there for 2 days.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's something that people don't talk about. Oh, it's so terrible. He's got 10 suites for people to stay in. Well, okay, so it doesn't mean they're filled all the time, and they're not. He has 6 people, up to 6 people a day in the clinic, and they're usually 2-day surgeries. So do the math. But here's the thing about that facility, and forgive me, Dr. Erdogan, I haven't finished my videos because I shot so much footage. What you don't know about ASMED is they have arguably the most intensive training for their technicians of any clinic I've ever seen. Full stop.
Really?
I went through some of the they showed me. They have these special heads that Dr. Karai designed that the technicians train placing grafts into, and it's a silicon graft.
And it's just like a normal. It's an exact, almost mimic of a normal.
Well, not exact, because it's, living tissue versus, something that's designed to mimic it. But what it's designed to do is to hone the eye-hand coordination of the tech. And they're being watched over by technicians that have been doing it for at least 5 years. Like, I went through this. Like, they showed me. I have it on camera. I might share it at some point. And it was difficult at first, and then I started picking it up. I was placing grafts into these dummy heads, and I could see the progression, and they were explaining that. Anyway, point being is it's a very impressive program, and sometimes and actually I take there's actually at one point in the program for extractions, the technicians are using actual cadaver tissue. I forgot about that part. So they're actually extracting real human follicles from cadaver tissue as they're training.
Wow.
Yeah. So
holy crap.
It's pretty in depth. And look, if he went through a phase where he was making some changes and the quality control dropped, so be it. But it's not that way now. And to be honest with you, a lot of clinics I've worked for have made changes or didn't even make changes, but something changed without them knowing it, and quality dropped, complaints went up. It's like, shit, what the hell's going on? Look, evaluating, going through, making changes, making corrections, fixing things, getting rid of some people if that's what it takes, and then you set the ship back on course, and you're better for it. So the idea that it kind of, I'm not going to be insulting, but it's just kind of, I'll say small-minded. It's not even that. It's just close-minded. I think that's a better term. Close-minded to continue to damn a clinic years later when there's really no new evidence. So I looked at that when I was evaluating, and I made my determination. And honestly, I don't regret it. They're doing great work. I'm not telling anyone to go there. It's just I feel they're worth considering. That's the way I've always put it, is these are clinics that I feel are worth considering. I think they're better than the average clinic by far. So, do what you want to do. And I think that, the idea of, to address your first point or your first concern about the hairline being lowered, yes, that is something you can talk to a doctor, like insert doctor's name here, right? Like anyone you're talking to. That is something to be discussed when you meet your doctor, because you can't really get into those kinds of minute details through photographs and through WhatsApp. It's like, this is a medical diagnosis. What you're getting through WhatsApp or email or whatever is an approximation based on what you've presented as your situation currently and what you want your situation to be after your final result. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. When I started, reading up on it online, it just sounded ridiculous to me from the start,
Yeah. Makes sense. I get it.
Yeah, I you know how Redditors are, just people online. They'll find anything.
No. Yeah, I do. I actually kind of moved away. I thought for a while, I could bring some sanity to one of the groups, but then it just kind of turned into, I don't know, something that I could not maintain because of the time involved to explain away such incredible misinformation. And it's not purposely or purposeful misinformation. It's not disinformation, if that's a better description. It's just internet experts thinking they know what they're talking about. And they may be repeating sound bites from doctors they've spoken to, and that's fine, but they're preaching it as the gospel. And then some of them are a lot more aggressive, or we'll say, what's the word I'm looking for? We'll just say presentable with their arguments than others. And so some of the people that don't know very much, or maybe they're not very strong-willed and trying to figure out things on their own, they tend to believe them. And these figures are created, these figureheads are created in each of these groups, where it's like, oh, this guy's the expert, oh, that guy's the expert. And it just gets to a point where I'm just like, I got to learn, or I did have to learn, and I did, when to call quits, because it's like, I got things to do, and I can't sit here on this board, on this Reddit board, or subreddit for 6 hours a day, trying to talk people out of trying to show people why they're misinformed about facts, especially when I show them the facts that are visual or just laid out logically as I usually do, and they still say, yeah, but that I don't agree with that. Or it's like, okay, why? And they don't show you why. It's like, okay, I'm just wasting my time. So it was hard to do, but I walked away, and I still get some people message me on Reddit with questions. I don't answer them because, well, I answered one recently, but I try not to, because then it'll just suck me back in. If people have questions for me, I got Instagram, I got email, got my website. There are several ways to contact me. Got the show. They can ask me questions here. So there you go. That's that.
Yeah. No, thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
Yeah, it definitely, like I said, it sounded ridiculous. I'm still gonna pay the extra just for him to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what else is going on? How's remind me, what was your hair loss pattern? When you went to see Dr. Panine?
Oh, it was years ago. It was I think I have like I want to say a 5. I don't know what 5, but it's diffused, and it's primarily on the crown is where I really want to focus. I feel like I could live with the hairline. Okay. But it's mostly the crown that bothers me. I could just always wear my hair down if I wanted to. Okay.
That's actually a reasonable self-observation, and it's interesting because I'm reminded of people that have come to me in the past and said, "Hey, can you do a transplant for just my crown?" Even though they don't have a hairline, and they might be like, say, a Norwood 4 or Norwood 3 A, which anterior loss is also shown in that. They just want to fill in the crown. They're happy with that really high Norwood 3 recession. And in the past, I've turned them down only because the options were more limited. FUE wasn't really something that the clinic I worked with would do. And even if they had, say, 7,000 grafts in the bank, the doctors weren't comfortable throwing half of that into the crown, not knowing what the rest is going to do. Like, if you're Norwood 3 and you decide, well, you know what, I do want to have a strong hairline, then there's 3,000 grafts right there at least. So 3,000 for the crown, 3,000 for the front. You're done. And what if the middle falls out? Then you really don't have enough for the middle. My thinking on this is kind of I'll say evolved simply because, the options have evolved. More options are available. You've got your FUE where the right candidate can get a lot of grafts if done properly. But I still believe in those with aggressive hair loss that strip is a viable option. Getting hair from that sweet spot, not affecting any hair above and below or on the sides where the strip doesn't venture into, maintaining full density for more FUE extractions down the road. But people have options. It's nice, and I think that if people want to address just the crown now, even though they may have some obvious recession in the front, I don't see any problem with it now. I think there's more grafts are available on average for patients today than they were 10 years ago, as far as what skilled clinics can offer for additional grafts. And that's not even talking about beard hair or body hair or anything like that. I'm not a fan of that stuff because it's rare when beard hair can look natural enough to not be obvious when it's growing.
Yeah, especially if you put it in the front, your hairline.
That's part of the thing is, avoid the front at all costs if you can, using beard hair. That's a filler for the mid-scalp and back. And hopefully you got enough scalp hair around that to hide it, to kind of blend it, So beard hair is a last resort. I've said that for 15, 16 years since it was an option, because it's 99% not going to look anything remotely like the hair that's on top of your head. There are a few cases where it does blend in okay, but those are few and far in between, in my view.
Yeah, and for me, it's like the hairline, it's diffused, but I got a couple tricks up my sleeve to kind of like make it look full.
A little sleight of hand,
but,
I get it.
I can't do that. Yeah, oh yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, a lot of, right now it's just a lot of applying Topic, and I quit the minoxidils, so I'm waiting to see the final results of being off that, even though I didn't get any regrowth. I did go through a shed, and I think I still am, and it kind of sucks, but I mean, it's going to suck. I don't want to say it's going to suck. It's not going to be fun dealing, the rest of my life with the hairline, because it's not receded. It's just diffused. It's more of like a mature hairline, and the temples are a little pushed back, but
diffuse means diffuse. Sorry to cut you off, but diffuse means it's going to be it's thin, like it's probably see through. Is that the way it is now?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, and I got friends right now who, I got one buddy. He got turned down from a clinic in Turkey, and he just had really bad, hair loss, and he didn't really have a.
Is your mother calling you?
Yeah. Yeah, and what's it called? What was I going to say? Yeah, he got turned down because he didn't have a donor or anything.
Right. Well,
and
good on that. Good on that clinic.
He's always saying, "I wish,"
because so many clinics will say, "Sure, look, you got at least 5 or 6 hairs we can move. Come on in, we'll take care of it."
Dude, I had Bosley. I also seen Bosley. It was the first clinic I ever saw when I was like 21. And
dude, they've been around longer than you've been alive. they've been around for at least twice as long as you have been.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time. I found that out, and I was shocked because I've heard horrible stories of Bosley.
Well, sorry to cut you off, but to be fair, like, I have no affiliation, and I've certainly been very tough on that organization over the years, and they're what the hell does that sound? They're one of the Did you hear that? That ding sound?
No, I didn't hear anything.
It came through on my end. I don't know what the hell that was. But they're the clinic I was giving a hard time for their TikToks where the staff were dancing in the lobby and the doctor as if it was a party. And it's like, come on, have some damn pride. You're doctors, for God's sake. It's like, stop stooping to the levels of, S&P clinics.
Yeah. That's low.
Sorry, that's a shot. But yeah, they've to be completely fair, they've really upped their game under the guidance of Ken Washenik. Dr. Ken Washenik, he's their leader. I know Ken. I think he's a good guy. He's walked a fine line between the corporate world and sales quotas and doing the right thing. So it used to be the model used to be like this. You walk into a Bosley office and you meet with a consultant, and you might meet with a doctor, but most likely not, because the consultant actually was the real employee of the company, and the doctor was usually, well, not usually, but in some cases was a contractor. And so the consultant would tell the doctor how many grafts to transplant in order to meet a corporate quota. And they would have, their weekly or monthly sales meetings, and they got projections, and you got to meet quota, like all these things that you see in any other corporate sales environment. But what they've done is, and this is back in the strictly strip days when you had to have a doctor, but now instead of taking the route that a lot of clinics have done at the urging of these device manufacturers, where these clinics are hiring these per diem techs that have no training except for how to use the device. Bosley actually invested in hiring physician assistants, actual PAs. They've been through medical school, but not through a specialty like MDs have. So good on them. Like, they're licensed to do the surgery, to break skin. So good for them. Like, I think that was a great move, and it allows them to perform FUE, and they can still do their strips with the doctors that are working for them, unless they're all FUE now. I don't know if that's the case. I wouldn't be surprised. But and with that said, I don't really hear Bosley disaster stories anymore. I just don't hear about them. Maybe every once, like rarely. Like I think I heard. I think I heard one maybe last year sometime. And I remember thinking to myself, "Wow, I never hear about that anymore. It's rare." So they're
I guess it's become popular to leave the country.
They've improved. I'm sorry?
I guess it's just more popular to leave the country and do it somewhere else. Maybe that's why. Maybe they're just becoming. Maybe that there's more clinics out there. People are.
Obviously, they're at the whim of market conditions, for sure. Like, this is definitely a medical specialty that has been changed by the patient, not by the industry. The patients changed it. The patients wanted FUE, in no small part because of some of the early pioneers that were making shit up about how good it was at the time versus the best strip surgery out there. I was there. And I was there when the doctors were making up this bullshit, and I was there when I was seeing the disasters that these doctors were creating by basically experimenting on patients. This is the only industry that I know of where, as a patient, you can go in and get a brand new procedure that's untested, and they make you pay for it on top of it. After even telling you that it's a new procedure that they're trying out. It's like, talk about greedy.
Man,
It's like, but that's a part of the FUE history that a lot of people don't realize. For the first probably 5 years, it was carnage, absolute carnage. There's a doctor out there right now that is credited for being an early pioneer, to his credit. But what that credit doesn't include is that he was using giant punches, like 1.2, 1.4 millimeter punches, which, to be fair, we didn't really know that was too big at the time. But that's the whole point. Patients were paying, double, triple what, I don't know what they're paying, but they're paying double or triple what they would pay with a good FUT surgery to be guinea pigs, surgical guinea pigs.
Jeez, man, that's gross.
Hundreds of patients, hundreds and hundreds of patients had terrible outcomes. Not just recipient with bad growth and all the things that can happen from that, but decimated donor areas, moth-eaten. Sometimes, like, really, and even if it wasn't moth-eaten, they still couldn't go, and have like a number 3 haircut or a number 4 haircut guard on the clippers, because the dot scars were so fucking huge. It's like it was still like they got shot in the back of the head with buckshot.
Yeah, and that's like something you can't, you can try to fix. It's going to cost a lot, and there are repair surgeons, but it's like, I don't know much about, cosmetic surgery, but it seems like that's one of the few where realistically you can't fix. It's like once you're fucked, you're pretty much fucked. It's not like, I don't know, a BBL or something like that where,
yeah.
I don't know how that works either, but I feel like it's a lot more simpler to get one of those done. It's like, why couldn't that have been our problem instead of hair?
Yeah, I know. But look, it's I got so many war stories to tell from it. Like I could sit here for days and tell story after story of patients that have been harmed because they paid to be harmed, not because of changes that were made in the clinic and quality control went down, not because someone was having a bad day, but because the doctor just wasn't very experienced with what they were doing, but made it sound like they were. Which goes back to the problem. We're trained from birth to trust the white coat. Like we see someone wearing a white coat, it automatically triggers that behavior. It's almost Pavlovian. White coat? Oh, I trust you. Tell me what I want to know. Tell me what I need to do. I'll do it. That kind of thing. So that's why you'll never see me wearing a white coat. Like someone actually suggested that to me when I was a consultant, and I thought about it for a minute. I was like, yeah, okay, wear the white coat, look kind of respectable. Like I know what the hell I'm talking about. And I was like, no, that's a bad idea. I even hesitate to wear scrubs. Like I got a few sets of scrubs in my closet that I wear when I go to clinics and to conferences where there's surgery. I've debated wearing them on camera. And who knows? Maybe I will. Like if it gives me some sort of YouTube credibility where it looks like I know I'm talking. Like hell, I mean, look, I got kids half my age that know jack shit about hair transplant surgery with twice the subscribers. So maybe I need to do something to get it across to people that I do know my shit more than any of these guys. So I don't know.
I really wish you and Spencer were a lot more popular. Like, I don't know. I hate seeing that you guys only get like 60, 70, maybe 80 views a Friday.
I don't know what you're looking at. We'll have a few hundred by the end of the day, and then by Monday it's usually between 1,000 and 1,500. So, but look, man, the truth is not sexy. The truth isn't sexy. Like I could sit here. I've thought about this. I could sit here and I could talk about all these future treatments or, potential surgical and medical breakthroughs. But it's all bullshit, man. It's all bullshit. There's someone on a Facebook group, and I'll get to this other caller here in just a bit. But there's a Facebook group I'm a part of, and a guy in that group was asking, "What's the secret to Dr. Zarev?" I'm like, "There's no secret. He just takes his time. He doesn't rush. His consultations are minimum 2 hours each, just to sit there and talk to him for a consultation." Because he's pulling out the rulers and the pencils and the, and the magnifying glasses and the flashlights and, whatever he's using to take measurements of every part of your scalp. And he's running the math. He's measuring here, he's got the calipers out. He's measuring the diameter of the hairs in the different areas. And someone said, "Oh, well, he's got a special tool. It's always blurred out, during his videos." There's no special tool. He may think it's special. With respect, he may think it's special. But there's no tool that allows you to take twice as many grafts as the next guy. It doesn't exist. Like, that makes no sense to me. I've seen every tool out there. But it's the mystique of the way that he's presented by people. You can kind of blame him for it because he is being secretive about it. And I'm actually critical of Zarev because I'm critical of Zarev for two reasons. I like the guy. I've talked to him several times. Like I worked with him on this global hair loss summit a couple times where I edited his content for him. Well, it was a requirement. 'Cause that was my job. But I'm critical for two reasons. Number one, no one that's ever no one that's ever hidden their secret sauce, as it were, lasts for the long term. They don't last. You try to hide what you're doing.
About competition.
Look, Dr. Wong told me something many years ago when he was being criticized by someone for sharing the lateral slit technique and custom cut blades and the whole nine yards, like how to do it all. And Jerry said, "You know what? If I show 100 people, there might be 2 that actually understand it." And he's right. He's right. 100% right. And it applies to everything in this industry. So if I talk to 100 doctors, which I've done, and I give them the secret sauce for how to be not just successful, but also respectable and ethical, all at the same time, out of those 100 doctors, 2 or 3 will get it. And I say that from experience. Because most doctors don't have the foresight. They don't have the vision for the long game. They're always looking at next week's schedule. They're always looking at what people are saying about them today as opposed to what they will be saying about them 2-3 years from now when they start doing things right. The people that do get it, the people that you can show them how to do something and they do pick it up, they're the ones that look at it and they're like, "Huh, I didn't realize it was that easy." And when they say that, they're bound for success. And I've seen that with every clinic I work with. The ones that have lasted, they get it. They do things as I suggest they should. And it's kind of like a light bulb goes off. They're like, I never would have thought of that. It's so simple. It's a very easy formula. The ones that don't, they're gone. For one reason or another, they're gone. And so back to Zarev. Yeah, I think it's selfish. I also think it's, and I don't mean to, I'm not trying to be insulting to Dr. Zarev, But I think it's selfish, and I think it is just not the right thing to do, especially in medicine where you're supposed to be sharing things with your colleagues for the betterment of the patient. I don't know. Call me old-fashioned. The second thing I don't like about Dr. Zarev is he doesn't do video, and all the photos that you see that he posts, and most of the photos out there are photos that he's taken, it's blasted with flash. Like the most harsh photographs out there, some of the most harsh photographs out there as far as how the flash is used, which distorts everything. In other words, you see a Zarev patient in person, they won't look the same as they do in the photos. It'll look thinner than what you see in the photos. It's just the way it works. It's the physics of light, which I've discussed and researched as a photographer. I've broken it down. The angle of incidence equals the angle of reflectance, and how that applies to hair is pretty significant. Depending on the angle that you're shooting at, the hairstyles. Yeah. I could talk about that forever, so I won't, but I appreciate your call, Adam. You made me...
no, thank you.
You got me...
Thank you.
You got me into my deep thoughts with Joe today. But that's what today's about. Ask me anything. I'll talk about it.
We're here to pick your brain. That's it.
Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you, Adam, for calling. Call back anytime, okay?
Thank you so much.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye. 1-833-563-4247. It is Monday, September 25th, AMA Mondays. That's not an official thing. It's just I kind of made it up today. I didn't really have anything specific I want to talk to you guys about. There's a few things which I think is interesting, actually. I'll even show you. I'll be right back. Hold on. I'll be back. There we go. Okay, so I'm back. Yeah, so this is the box I got the other day. And not one, but 2 boxes of Cosma RNA. I thought maybe I'll talk about this. Not really much to talk about. I was going to be talking to the company. One of their people reached out to me actually about almost 2 months ago. I just didn't get back to him because I didn't want to, but I was also busy. And I kind of had an idea what they wanted to talk about. But I thought, okay, I'll see what they have to say. And so, long story short, they said, can you? They wanted to do like this obvious thing that I don't do. You know, can you talk about it and do these things and have like an affiliate? I'm like, no, I don't sell. I don't do that. No, I'm not going to do like this thing where it's like an affiliate program and discount codes and all that bullshit. It's like, it's not worth it to me. I don't, it doesn't mean anything to me. It's not attractive to me. I have to know it works. And it's like, well, maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll try this on camera and document it because I think you guys would like to see that. Let me know what you think. Like, tell me, would you guys follow me on Instagram or something? Or even here on YouTube if you're not already, you'd subscribe to me, which is what matters, to follow my progress. Like I would set up a specific playlist on my channel where I would do updates maybe every day, or at least a few times a week. And what I would do is I would apply this in one area of my crown that would be easy to document. Or maybe I'd do it someplace, I don't know, maybe in part of my temple. I don't know. These are just thoughts. But So they sent it to me. And then I got a message the other day, poor lady that I was talking to, super nice, like just really nice. She said, I had to quit the company. I'm not, like, I hurt myself, and she had to have surgery and she has to recover. It's like, I feel bad for her. But yeah, Cosmo RNA, it's, I'm going to consider trying this. I don't want to do a whole head thing because I just don't want to. But I am considering trying this in one spot on my scalp. Tell me what you guys think. Would you like to see me do this? Is it worth my time to satisfy your sick curiosities? I don't know. So I'll put this away for now, but I have it. Or maybe I'll do a giveaway. I don't even know what this stuff costs. It's like $100 or something for, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, phone line is open, 1-833-563-4247. It's toll-free North America and, of course, worldwide using the calling app of your choice. I saw someone calling internationally earlier. You call back, unless it's too late. And then there's some North American area codes as well. This is Ask Me Anything, guys. Nick, thank you. I definitely follow your progress on Instagram and YouTube. Appreciate that, brother. Sergey. What's up, Sergey? Let's see. Joe. Oh, sorry, Sergey. Got a phone call. All right, who's this? Hey, you're on the main event. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello?
Hello. Yes. How you doing, Joe? This is Carlos from Washington, D.C.
Carlos, I'm fantastic, brother. Thanks for calling. How are you, sir?
Doing great. Doing great. I just had a quick question for you. Next month, about I would say about 2.5 weeks, I'm scheduled to have a FUT procedure, and I was just wondering, from the time of my procedure, I'm going to be going back to work like almost 3 weeks later, and I was just wondering if you could tell me, how do you, like, by the time I go back to work, is there any way I can, disguise the linear scar that's going to be in the back of my head? I mean, I've been told that I can use Topic, I can use some hair fiber thing that will blend in after, that it shouldn't be too noticeable at that time. I mean, what would you recommend?
Carlos, I thought you said it was a quick question. I'm just jerking your chain, buddy. Okay, so the quick answer is yes, you can hide it. But the long answer is more of a question. Are they shaving your entire head for the procedure?
No. My understanding is just the area where they're going to take the strip.
Okay, so then how long is your hair now?
Oh, it's pretty long. I mean, I haven't cut my hair in about three months. You know.
Well, okay. How long is pretty long? Is it like a few inches long?
I would say maybe 3 inches.
You're fine. Yeah. What they do, at least most clinics that I know of, when they're performing an FUT procedure, is they'll shave out only the area that they're removing. So think about this: they shave out the area that's being removed, which is maybe. I don't know anything about what they're going to be doing for you, but let's just say, for argument's sake, a 2 centimeter wide strip, which is pretty wide. So, but let's say they're shaving that out. So you got an area on the back of your scalp and maybe on the sides, depends on how many grafts you're going to get, where it's 2 centimeters wide and maybe, ear to ear, just for argument's sake again, as far as the length goes. So it's maybe, let's say, 20 to 25 centimeters long by 2 centimeters wide. That's, let's say, an even 50 centimeters of skin has been shaved out. So because that's most of the strip area that's being actually cut out. So what happens when that strip is removed? That gap where that strip tissue was, or the skin tissue was, is pulled together. So the edge on the top and edge on the bottom are pulled together, and they meet up, and they're bound to each other with either staples or sutures. So guess what? You no longer have an area in the back of your scalp that's been shaved because the shaved tissue has been removed. Right?
Gotcha.
Okay. Light bulb just go off?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the way it usually works.
No, because my understanding, the doctor that's going to perform my I've been watching his videos for quite a while now, and what they're saying is that after the staples are removed, everything's going to look like a buzz cut. So what I'm supposed to do, they say, is go to the barber and kind of even out,
brother.
Everything.
I already know where you're going. Okay. You're going to Dr. Bloxham, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Am I good or am I good? Huh?
No, hey, that's why I'm calling you.
I'm good. Who else could you call and they would know that? First call. We've never spoken before, correct? Have you ever called the show?
I called maybe a month and a half ago.
Okay, well, I don't remember that.
Spencer.
Okay, I don't remember that, but all right, whatever. So anyway, I digress. That's the way it works. So so here's the thing: the area that's being removed is going to be fine. It's covered by the hair above that incision line, even if it's even if that hair is just an inch long. The area where it's being covered is not. It's much less. So you're fine with that. But they are going to shave the top of your scalp where the work is being done, where the grafts are being placed, right? So that's going to be more noticeable than the staples or the strip scar. Sorry. So that's exactly correct. You want to go to your barber and get a buzz cut to where the sides kind of taper into the top.
Okay.
But you're also going to have to deal with the back where the donor scar is. So that needs to be just a bit longer as well. So they can taper into a length that's just a bit longer over that area, and then it can shorten again as it goes down below. It's not the best haircut in the world. I'm not going to lie to you. What do you do for work?
I'm a police officer.
Okay. Shit. Brother, look. You're okay. Let me ask you. Okay, first off, I know that your boys in the precinct are going to give you shit if they find out. Am I right or am I right?
Oh, of course they will.
Of course.
That's why I'm trying to do my best to prepare for this. I mean, if I got to put some, I don't know, black stuff to hide the scar on the back when I get the buzz cut, whatever it is. So that's why I'm calling you. I mean, give me some solid ideas what to do.
Carlos, brother, just suck it up, man, because they're going to find out, and you're not going to live it down. It's just the guys in the precinct are not going to give they'll give you a harder time for trying to hide it than actually think about it. I may be wrong, but tell me, am I wrong? They'll give you a harder time about you trying to hide it as opposed to you actually walking in owning it. Am I right?
Well, I'm trying to make sure that it don't become that noticeable. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, again, from the time of my surgery, by the time I go back, it's going to be 3 weeks. So I'm hoping that's enough time for me to disguise this stuff. Well, with topic, whatever it is, that I can put on my head.
All right. So in all seriousness, the top is not going to be long enough to use topic. Okay. Just straight up. Just not going to be long enough. You might. What's your skin tone?
I'm kind of, I would say, olive. When I get some sun, a little tan. It's kind of,
I got your answer. Okay, this is what you do. You're already kind of olive. What I would do, and what I've told people. Okay, here's the thing. So you've been to Dr. Bloxham. He's already assessed your situation, and he's given the estimate. You're already booked in. He knows what you look like.
Mm-hmm.
Between now and surgery day, cut your hair progressively shorter every week until you take your time off. That way, all the guys around you they don't think anything different when you come in with a strange haircut. Make sense?
Okay.
You get.
But is it going to look that funky?
No. Just follow me on this, okay? I actually haven't thought of this in a while, but this is what I used to tell my patients. I'm not a doctor, but this is what I used to tell my patients: is have a shorter and shorter haircut progressively until you get to the day that you leave to go have surgery. Not shaved, but just progressively shorter. Down to, say, by the time you leave, say like a week before you leave, let everyone get used to you having, like, say, a number 4 haircut all over. Top, back, sides, everything.
A number what again?
Just as a general reference, like a shorter haircut than you have now, like, say, a number 4 cut, number 5 cut, something like that. Yeah. Like it seems like it's probably quite a bit shorter than what your hair is now. Is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's correct.
So for a week, you're walking around the office, the locker room, whatever, with this shorter haircut, and your boys might notice it. They're like, "Hey, you got, Carlos, what's up with the short haircut?" No, I'm kind of, you just make something up. I'm just kind of tired of it. Just trying something out. Whatever you want to say, it doesn't matter as long as it's believable. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You go have your surgery. You're gone for 3 weeks. You come back with your skin complexion, your skin type, the top will be fine as far as the redness goes. You won't really have any redness because of your skin tone. All right? That's not something you need to worry about. What I would do is when you get your haircut to the final length before you go have surgery, go to the tanning bed. Walk around outside if it's sunny without a hat. Get some sun on your scalp.
Okay.
Get that pigment, get that melanin working for you, right? And then when you come back, like people with olive skin, they tend to not have that redness for very long. It tends to go away in like a week on the top of the scalp. Pasty white guys like me, it lasts for 6 months. Easy.
Wow.
Okay, so you're lucky. Then your only issue is the donor area. And with some, depends on how dense your hair is, because if your density above and below your donor scar, where that's sealed, is kind of low, like you can see the scalp, then putting a topic on there would actually draw attention to it because it looks like this dark line going along the back, whereas without it, it's just a thin line that might be slightly inflamed. So topic might be difficult. The option might be Dermatch, something that applies on the skin itself. It's like a hair makeup. It's not a sprinkle in. It goes onto the scalp itself. And you can spread that out through the area as opposed to just that one line. You can spread it around a little bit above and a little bit below to kind of blend it into your scalp so you don't have this pattern of a line standing out, because patterns draw the eye. We see patterns very easily even when we're not looking for them. Okay?
Okay.
So that's your approach.
My donor area, my donor area feels like a rug. It's very thick.
Okay.
My hair in the back. So
yeah. Well, is your hair curly? Is it straight, wavy?
No, it's straight black hair.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a benefit because you can go shorter and not have that stand out. So, look, that's between you and your barber. Some people can go shorter than other people based on the density of the hair and the caliber of it. Okay. The other issue, and this is something that varies from patient to patient, and not very many people think about this, is the angle that your donor area hair exits the scalp. Traditionally, the donor hair in the occipital region, the back of the scalp, flows down and kind of flat to the scalp, to the back of the scalp. But there are some people out there where it actually sticks out at somewhat of a right angle, not a very shallow angle. It's pretty sharp actually, or pretty. Yeah, it's not quite a right angle, but it sticks out, and you can see in between the hairs because of that angle. And you can even see scalp at fairly decent lengths. So if you have that kind of hair, then it will be tougher. If your hair does kind of lay down onto the scalp in the occipital region, then you're fine.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much what it sounds like. Yeah, it's just straight. It's like some people could consider my hair like Asian hair.
Okay.
You know, like the type of hair Asian people have. It's just I'm just trying to. I can manage for this not to look too funny after 3 weeks. Then it's manageable. Then
it is. Yeah, it is. It is. You sound like you have the characteristics that make it easier than, someone whose last name is O'Reilly with red hair and pale skin from Ireland. It's like, yeah, it's definitely going to be easier for you than someone like that.
Okay.
In my case, after my second surgery, I shaved my head with my beard and mustache trimmer 4 days afterwards, and then went to a job interview with staples still in my head. So I got the job. Actually, no, I got the job before I had the surgery. I went into the first day of my new job with my head shaved with a beard and mustache trimmer, and I actually missed some spots. So it looked like I got attacked by a mangy dog, and I still had the staples in my scalp.
Okay.
Didn't really affect anything. So that's the other option, buddy, is you can just own it. And instead of being the subject of ridicule, you can be the subject of questions like, shit, man, that looks good. Tell me more. And that would happen. Because some of your boys are losing their hair and they'd be like, shit, I need to find out about this, you know? It happens.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Okay. Guaranteed.
Okay. Well,
right.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for your time. Keep doing the great job that you do. You know, you're helping a lot of people.
My pleasure, my friend.
Sure.
Take care. Good luck with it, okay?
Okay, thank you very much. Bye.
Tell Blake I said hey. Bye. Was it Blake? Wait, what's his name? Blake Bloxham? I forgot. Anyway, so phone line is open, 1-833-563-4247, toll-free North America, and if you're charged up on your credits for your calling app of choice worldwide, give me a call. Happy to answer your questions. It is Monday, September 25th. If you're just joining us, we're talking about whatever. You got any questions? Let me know. It's kind of an AMA thing. You know, if you got questions about anything, we'll talk about it. You know, there's so much to talk about anyway. Let's see, what else was I going to talk about? I talked about Cosmo RNA. Sergey had a question in the chat room. Sergey, let me get back to you, buddy. Unless a call comes in. Here we go. Joe, what do you think about testing hair transplant techniques on monkeys with male pattern baldness? We could get a large sample of monkeys and study survival rates with various densities and punch sizes. Aside from personal ethical considerations, not personal, but how I look at that, I'm not big on animal testing. I understand the need for it, so I'm not one of those bleeding hearts, but I also question the efficacy of those kinds of studies when you're looking. It's like you'd have to have bald monkeys. I think, like, you could shave it. You find areas where maybe it's. I don't know. It'd be tough. Yes, you could mark it with tattoo dots and it's. I think that would be. I don't know. Not a fan of that idea. I think there are too many variables to be able to get a clear understanding of what's going on. Like, I guess it could be done. I take that back because you just asked the question, so I'm just kind of trying to filter through the challenges in the situation, I guess it would be valid, but ethically, I don't think that would be great simply because we're looking at animal experiments for cosmetic reasons on us. I think it's selfish, actually. Not you, but I think the idea, if we went through with animal testing on hair transplant surgical methodology, I don't like that idea. No. Hope that makes sense. Good question, though. You made me think. Milk drinkers, Alan Feller still involved in the scene in any capacity? I don't think so. I think for several years he's been, he trained Blake, and it is Blake. And he's just enjoying the fruits of his business sense. He's actually got a few clinics. I remember he had set one up in Florida. I don't think his other clinics are. I think they're low key with doctors you've never heard of. I don't even know if they're still open. But he brought on Blake to, and Blake, Dr. Bloxham, he knew he wanted to be he's one of the few hair transplant surgeons out there that knew he wanted to be a hair transplant surgeon before he graduated medical school. He went to some school in Missouri, some doctor of osteopathic medical school. He's a DO, not an MD, because that was kind of like the fast track to be able to put a scalpel in his hand. I have to assume, because it's not as rigorous as traditional MD medical school. Nothing wrong with it. Like if he's licensed, he's capable, he's doing, what looks to be solid work, good for him. I don't blame him. I'd probably do the same thing. It is Blake, yeah. He never posts videos or probably doesn't need to. That's the thing. When clinics have been posting, like them as a clinic that shares on social media, be it YouTube or whatever, consistently, and then they don't, it's because they've gotten lazy, but it means that they are able to be lazy because they're booked. They don't see the need to get out there. Now, some clinics will do it anyway because either A, they recognize the importance of never resting on your laurels, good for them, and some of them think it's fun. And I understand that. It is fun to make videos and to edit them and to get them out there. So there's that. But if they're not doing it, it definitely means that they're not suffering as far as the schedule goes. Unlike some other clinics in New York. So, Nick. Hey, Joe, what's your thoughts on Almated? I saw a doctor advertising Almated and is charging quite a bit, but I've never heard of it before. Almated's new. In a nutshell, you could call it like a sonic delivery of medications because there's no injection. It's not oral. It's not injectable. It opens up the pores so that so that the skin can absorb something, and it's almost like it forces it through. The way it's been described to me. I was invited by the manufacturer to a meeting here in Vancouver last month, I think. But I decided I was too busy because it doesn't interest me. So to answer your question, what I think of doctors charging, what was your question? What are my thoughts on advertising? Yeah, you said you saw a doctor charging quite a bit. I think I'm not a fan of it. Look, I know the machine's not cheap, but at the same time, what's wrong with operating on volume at a lower price point? Like I know some places are charging like $4,500 for a treatment. I think that's ridiculous. If it was a one-time shot, if it was one time every couple of years, okay, fine. But I'm not even a fan of like PRP, which we know can work in the right hands. will range North America, it'll range, or as a standalone procedure, PRP, if it's effective, will range from $1,500 to $5,000. I remember there used to be a doctor in New York. I don't know if he still does this or not, but he was all over YouTube, and he was charging $5,000 a pop, and he was saying that you needed like 2 or 3 treatments in a year. Meanwhile, doctors like, say, Dr. Jerry Cooley in Charlotte, North Carolina, full disclosure, hair transplant mentor member, pays me a monthly fee to be a member. He's got documented results. He is a pioneer in this, and I've seen results where one treatment still was showing benefits 4 years later. It's not across the board, but he has always been a doctor that says, yeah, one shot should be good for about a year, maybe more. He's not been one of these doctors that says, oh, you got to come back, 3 times in the first half of the year, and then, none of that nonsense at $2,500 a pop or whatever. I don't like it. And I'm going to expand on that, on a thought that I've been having over the past, off and on for a few years, but it seems it's been more on the front of my thought process in the past few months. I think regenerative medicine in general is bullshit. Now, some doctors aren't going to be happy to hear me say that. They might say I don't understand it. Let's say they're right. Let's say I know nothing about regenerative. Let's just, wipe the slate clean. Joe knows nothing about regen medicine. His opinion doesn't matter, or it's false. It's not the right opinion. I have a very simple logic to things like this. Show me the results. That's what it comes down to. I've been like that for 20 years in this industry. Show me the results. It all comes down to claims. People will say anything to get you in the chair. I was saying it a lot in the early 2000s when FUE first came on the scene. Very prominent strip surgeons were ditching strip and saying FUE is the way. Come here. I'm a pioneer. I'm the best, or whatever superlatives they were throwing out there to get your attention. My question was, where are the results? That's why I was anti-FUE in the beginning. I saw all kinds of problems with it, but they're all being swept away because patients were clamoring for it, but it's because doctors were, like Dr. Ray Woods. He was, how did I even get on the subject? but Dr. Ray Woods was the original fearmonger for strip surgery, and I can't say I blame him because in Australia there were no good strip surgeons when he was first coming up with the Woods technique, aka FUE. So I can't really blame him. But eventually he did admit to me personally. I was actually sitting right next to Dr. Ray Woods, having dinner at a small conference, and we were talking, and he said, you know what? I have to admit, a bad strip surgery today is far better than a bad FUE today. I was floored when I heard that. I digress. Back to the point. Where are the results? There's no single methodology in the regen space that can create repeatable results. Some of them, like you may have some sort of great result with an Almated. Duplicate it 10 times. Let me find 10 people on the street. I'll bring them in. They won't pay you. You should be paying them to be guinea pigs, but let's say you just do at no charge. Let's see each and every one of them have some sort of result. I wouldn't even say the same degree of result, the same degree of improvement. I would say something. Just give us something. Won't happen. So I'm not a fan of Almated. I'm not a fan of PRP. I'm not a fan of exosomes. None of it. Can they work? Of course they can work. Have they worked? Of course they've worked. I've seen it. But it's not repeatable consistently, and that's what matters. Hope that answers your question. 1-833-563-4247. It is 4:42 p.m. Pacific time. I will be shutting down here in about 20 minutes. Thanks for sticking with me, and thank you for the phone calls so far. Pardon me. Don't forget to like today's show. You weren't even expecting a show today. I wasn't even expecting a show today. Do me a favor, hit the like button. Show me that you appreciate me being here unscheduled. I might be back tomorrow. I got something going on. Trying to think of this. Hold on. My brain's kind of scattered right now. Tuesday. No, I'm free tomorrow. I might be on tomorrow. I am trying to get out a video. You're welcome, Nick. I do have a new doctor coming on. I'm pretty excited by it. He's excited. This is what I love about what I do is when a doctor gets me some of the prelim info that I'm looking for, mainly, results. I can zoom in on, I can pinch, I can, really see the details. When I move on to the next phase, when I say, okay, this looks good now, and this is a process. It's evolved over the years. I now ask for, we'll say, clinical details later, because I've learned that when I say that their work looks good, let's move to the next phase, then they're excited. Then they get excited. If I tell them I need the details and paperwork first that I ask for, they're like, oh, for fuck's sake. No, it's like, they're not excited to do it. So I flipped it. Let's get the photos and videos first. Show me what you can do. Show me, and that in and of itself, that getting me the stuff, like the effort that they put in, that tells me a lot too. I'm looking at everything, not just the results they give me, but how they're documenting it. Are they open to suggestions on how to reshoot something so I can see better? Like, are they into it? This guy is into it. And even the paperwork and stuff, he's into it. He's excited. And that means it's a good thing. It really is. So I'm excited to bring him to announce him. I'm just waiting to flip the switch when I I get a few last things I'm asking for. I'll be flipping the switch, and his profile page will be live on my website. His playlist will be live here. I haven't made the video yet, but you'll be able to see that. Fingers crossed, it should be ready October 1st. So what, a week and a half from now, or roughly a week. Wait, 25th. Okay, less than a week from now. God, fingers crossed I can get that done. But I got another video that hopefully I can record and edit today. That'll be tough. I'm trying to streamline things, people, so I can get more content out for you. Please show me you appreciate that. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and ring the bell for all notifications, because I'm trying to increase my efficiency in my workflow so that more content can come out and more often. So it's for you, because I know you guys are asking for it. So a few more minutes here. Phone line is open, 1-833-563-4247. It's toll-free North America, and you can give me a call internationally. I am working on an international phone line for Europe. And maybe another one for the UK. Spending that money, people, for you. See, I don't make money from this. I'm spending. Look at this. Look at this. Look at my setup. I didn't buy this for me. I bought this for you guys. So I would have better sound. So you wouldn't believe my camera setup. So it'll be crisp. So it wouldn't, look like a shaky, blurry, Vaseline-covered lens on my iPhone bouncing around. So trying to make this, for you guys and spending money to do it. And if it means phone lines, and I'm also trying to get rid of the ringtone. I know I might have to switch apps to do that, but it's for you guys, because when I'm not doing the show, it's just sitting here collecting dust and cost me money. So I'm investing money to help you guys, to get this information to you. Let's see. Hampton Hudson, Joe, I can tell you firsthand, my transplant grew in probably at least 99% by 6 months. Now, I don't know if that just my body or the CRP I had in conjunction, but I've experienced it. No question. But the point is, you don't know what it would have done without it. And okay, so let's use your situation, Hudson. And thanks for your question, by the way, or your comment. Let's get 10 other patients from the same doctor, line them up, graft counts, hair loss before surgery, blah, blah, blah. Do they all feel like 99% of the results came in before 6 months? I think it's a fair question because of some sort of treatment that is standardized, or is it, I don't know, in the clinic. I think that's the way to look at that. I love individual anecdotes. I do. I know a guy that did this, or I experienced that. It's like, that's awesome, and I totally get it. But what I'm looking for when someone asks me a question on what I think about regen medicine or a particular modality like Almated, I need to see consistency. And that's the whole problem with this. I know... there are these conferences, these regenerative medicine conferences that doctors go to, and that's fine. Like, it's great. And I think that it's nice to see improvements, if they're there for healing. But I'm not so much, I look at this the way I look at living. Like if you have someone that has a terrible diet, are they going to get, some sort of benefit from some sort of external treatment when they have a surgery? I don't know. If you're healthy, like you eat right, you exercise, everything is in the zone as far as your health goes, and then you have surgery, I think that if the protocol is solid, then you'll react better to it because your baseline that you're providing is more receptive to that, we'll say, regenerative encouragement, if that makes sense. At the same time, how would you have progressed without it if you're in good health? I think I try to break things down to simple logic, and that's what I come up with. It's always the same question. So, but I appreciate that. Yeah, you feel you had 99% by 6 months. That's great. 20 years ago, before regen medicine came on the scene, I know a lot of people that felt the same way. I remember patients, it's like, I didn't lose any hair. Like, none of it fell out. All my grafts started growing from day one, and by 4 months, it's like, okay. So I don't think it's a magic bullet. I don't think it's doing anything that we're not seeing in nature on its own anyway, randomly. So, yeah, I hope that makes sense. Like, and I'm not criticizing, your experience. I think it's perfectly valid, and you know that. I don't have to explain that to you. Let's see, Sergey at David Hutton, talking to David Hutton. Let's see. Okay, you guys are talking about the monkey experiments. 1-833-563-4247. Ask me a question, people. Call me. We got 9 minutes. I'm going to shut down at the hour if I don't have a call. Let's see. Joe, this is from Milk Drinker. Why do so many doctors post videos with gimmicky jump cuts, moving pictures, rapid transitions, and loud music? Because they think that you won't pay attention if they don't. And I can't say they're wrong. Maybe not you, but in general, people, our attention spans are shorter now than ever. So it's always a fight to grab your attention from some other shiny object that's also vying for your attention. That's why. And because most clinics have bad taste, they look, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to give away some of my thoughts. I usually charge doctors a lot of money for. It's very simple. You have a hook at the end telling everyone what they are watching your video for, and then you present it to them. But you don't take too long. With the befores, you bring in the afters pretty soon, but then you can keep going back to the befores. You can alternate to show different situations, different scenarios, blah, blah, blah. And you can throw things in between to kind of break it up so it doesn't seem monotonous, and maybe that there's something else that they haven't seen yet. It's pretty simple. I'll be sending each and every one of you an invoice for that piece of information. Let's see what else. It goes further than that, but yeah, that's basically it. See any other questions? Okay, got a conversation going on between a couple of people. That's good. David Hutton, people seem to expect a BMW result for the price of a used Fiat at those cheap Turkish clinics, and it's nuts. I agree. And to be completely fair, some of the clinics will put out that BMW, to use your reference, occasionally. I do know some relatively cheap clinics that are pretty consistent, and they're doing decent work. They're getting better, people. It's funny, when I first went to Turkey in 2015, I was appalled. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Not just in, like that clinic that I snuck into, infiltrated as just a regular person. I was seeing it in restaurants. I was seeing it in the streets. I'm not just talking about fresh patients. I'm talking about waiters that had terrible hair transplants, because it's expected. Like it's what you do. Anyway, but those first wave of bad clinics from the end of the early 2000s into the 2000 teens, they're better now. It's logical. It makes sense. Some of them are better now. One of them I would actually consider talking to. They did approach me. There's a particular doctor in this group that is a standout. And they did approach me. I told them that there's a couple things that they don't have that disqualifies them from consideration. They may be working on it. I don't know. But if the doctor came back or the place came back and said, we did, XYZ, will you consider our doctor again? I'd consider. I have to, if the work looks good from this doctor, I don't have complaints, I can't say I would dismiss it automatically. And I think to do so would be ignorant on my end. I got to keep an open mind. Things are changing, people. Those that used to be bad are now not so bad. People learn, people improve, people train, people recognize their shortcomings, whether through their own actions or input from third parties, and they work to rectify those shortcomings. I had a doctor from Korea came up to me last year at a conference, and he said, I was very mad at you. Okay. Sorry. Now what'd I do? You criticize my hairlines. You said I forgot the words he used, but he said, You said they're bad. They're pluggy. I was very upset. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't remember. And it turns out it was in that Kyle Christie video that I did several years back. Kyle Christie, celebrity hair transplant disasters, Kyle Christie effect, or something like that. And by the way, Kyle's going to be on the show at some point. Just throw that out there. And he explained to me, he said, but then when I thought about what you said about my hairlines, I realized you were right. And I've improved. I want you to look. And he opens up his phone and he starts showing me all of his results. I was like, damn, son, you stepped up. Good job. And he had this big shit-eating grin on his face. He was so happy to hear it. But that proves to me there are doctors out there that recognize that they may not be as good as they think they are. They'll see why. They'll think about it and say, you know what? There is room for improvement. I can be better. And they do something about it. That gave me hope. And I'm seeing it with some of these Turkish clinics that I used to abhor. They're getting better. Unfortunately, there's a new wave of terrible clinics behind them that have taken their place. So anyway, I could talk about that forever. But sometimes I get nuggets of hope from the industry where I do see people take an active effort to improve themselves because they realize for some reason that they can and should do better, and they step up and they do. And then I'm kind of reminded again, some people think that they're fantastic and they actually need to improve and they don't get it. Or anyway, I could talk about so many things, but yeah, that's it. Hang on. Let's see. FSK, my boy. Joe, ProScar prices have not changed in the UK from the source I get from. Still £219 for 14-month supply. Been the same for 3 years. Thank you for that. It's nice to hear this because I'm taking note of this. Enrique, what's your opinion on FUT for Afro-American hair? Depending on your haircut of choice, it could be better than FUE. Pardon me. Potentially less transection. Afro hair is very difficult for FUE. Don't believe me? Ask Sanusi Umar, who had to develop a special tool. I don't know if it works or not, but when you have doctors addressing a particular demographic by developing a new tool and then getting a patent on it, which means nothing. It just means that he's, no one else is vying for that and he's got rights to it. Doesn't mean it's good or not. Just being fair. It's tough when someone designs a special tool for it and then promotes it saying that Afro hair is tough. So there you go. So sometimes, depending on the situation, FUT can be better. I will go on record and say that FUT is almost always better for women. That's my opinion. Based on the fact that FUE reduces density on a 1-to-1 ratio, and the last thing women want in their donor region, in their hair anywhere, is for it to feel thinner. They want to feel fuller. Don't believe me? Watch any shampoo commercial. Enough said. All right, people. Phones are disconnected. No phone calls. It's now 5:01 p.m. Pacific Time, Monday, September 25th. I'd like to thank everyone for joining me here today for today's main event, Ask Me Anything. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for all notifications if you're not subscribed, because a lot more content's coming out soon, and you'll get notifications for that. And, of course, ring the bell, click the like button to show that you appreciate, and agree, I guess, me coming out here and talking to you for 2 hours at no cost to you, or anyone, actually, except myself. Anyway, I'm out of here, people. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.